what's going on YouTube? This is SSJ, and this is going to be a special kind of video. So I know I'm a little late to the party, but I still want to get this video out there. So as y'all already knew, March 1st, 2024, Akira Toriyama died of acute subdural hematoma at the age of 68. 68 years old. And we heard that announcement by Bird Studios, of course, a week later, on March 8th. And I'm not gonna lie, that was a very difficult thing to hear. And then we later found out that, of course, it was a brain tumor. That especially hits hard too, because my grandfather passed away of a brain tumor. So it really sucks, man. 68 is really too young to go too. I feel like we could have had Dragon Ball for probably another couple of years, so then he could have retired peacefully. But it sucks that the angels have to leave us early on before their time. So with that being said, I'm gonna split this video up into a few different segments where I talk about different moments in Dragon Ball and how I got into the series, why I like Dragon Ball, the overall impact that it has across not just Japan, but of course North America and all over the United States. Then of course the end of Dragon Ball, like the ending of its different endings, like whether it's GT or Super. So let's get into it. So now let's go ahead and cue my little title card sequence. So let's get this one. This is a quick article that I want to just go ahead and get out of the way. So an old assistant for Akira Toriyama revealed in a Japanese newspaper that the Dragon Ball creator was suffering from a brain tumor before his death. Akira Toriyama was one of the most influential manga authors ever. He died March 1st at the age of 68. Okay. He was known for his work on Dragon Ball and Dr. Slump, which influenced the art form for generations. In the wake of his death, many current manga artists came forward to say just how much Goku and his adventures inspired their work, which you can tell in like Naruto and One Piece. One of his contemporaries, Takashi Matsuyama, who worked as an assistant under the Dragon Ball author for years, has revealed that he was dealing with a brain tumor before his death. So at the time, Akira Toriyama told him he would be undergoing surgery for a brain tumor in the new year, the newspaper shared. He was nonchalant about it, but Matsuyama recalls him struggling with quitting smoking. Oh, okay. So Matsuyama and Toriyama were close friends as well as co-workers, as he was a witness at the Dragon Ball creator's wedding. While not an official cause of his death, the brain tumor speaks to the author's health status. In wake of Toriyama's passing, fans of his work have come forward to pay tribute to the author. Thousands have gathered to pay homage to the creator in Argentina and other Latin American countries who have a particular affinity for the Dragon Ball series. Which is true, because I've always known a lot of Hispanic friends and family that are like, oh yeah, Dragon Ball C is my shit, man. Like, you gotta watch that Dragon Ball C. Like, Dragon Ball is an amazing show, so yeah. So then I also found this hilarious too. The live-action Goku actor pays tribute to Akira Toriyama by apologizing for Dragon Ball Evolution. So before I get into the first topic, I just want to get this out of the way. This movie was butt cheese. This was one of the worst things to ever come out. Dragon Ball Evolution. Never do anime live action. It's like they never learned. So that was the first one. They did Avatar Last Airbender live action. That was trash. We had the Death Note. We had the Death Note anime. That was okay, but I didn't really care for the Death Note anime like that. Maybe I'll read the manga. But yeah. So he said that he isn't the first actor to apologize for the movie being terrible. And apparently they were saying that Piccolo, they tried to make him, they were fighting hard not to make him green. They didn't want Piccolo to be green in Dragon Ball Evolution. So that's trash. Really trash. Alright, so the first topic is going to be how I got into Dragon Ball. So how I got into Dragon Ball a long time ago when I was younger, and this is just my wallpaper right here. That tells you how much I love Dragon Ball. I got Goku Black Rose right there. But a long time ago when I was younger, I want to say like 4 or 5 years old maybe, they used to play like Toonami late at night on Cartoon Network, and I would of course watch Cartoon Network. I used to love all the shows on Cartoon Network, but late at night they would stop playing the regular kids cartoon shows and they would play anime, Japanese anime. And it was just something about the art style that I just loved that captivated me. That I was like, this art style is cool. Like, I just want to be in this world. I like how some of the characters had chibi looks on their faces. There were small characters, there was big characters, there was exaggerated looks on their faces. There was like little cute things they would do, and then some characters would be just overpowered and cause destruction and mayhem and have interesting personalities. And I'm not just talking about Dragon Ball, I'm just talking about anime in general. So that's kind of what got me into anime. And I remember the lineup being something like Case Close, Inuyasha, Rurouni Kenshin. Sometimes they would play Sailor Moon. Other times they would play Trigun and Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball as well. So of course I would stay up past midnight and watch Dragon Ball. And then of course they would play Dragon Ball Z, whatever other anime. And I would just keep on, because usually they would have a schedule, and if you stayed up late enough, sometimes they would just repeat some of the shows. So if you stayed up past like 1 or something like that, after playing a few of those shows, they would just start the schedule over again. So it'd be like Dragon Ball Z, Case Closed, Rurouni Kenshin, then Dragon Ball, then like Inuyasha, then it would start back over to Dragon Ball Z, Inuyasha, Case Closed, Yu Yu Hakusho, and then it would just go back to regular Cartoon Network at about like 5 a.m. You're probably wondering, you 4 or 5 years old staying up that late? What's wrong with you? This was like during the summertime, so of course I would be up all night, probably hopped up on candy or something like that. So that's kind of what first got me into Dragon Ball. And then of course, like, it started getting really popular around that time, because that was like around the early 2000s, like after the 90s, and I had a PlayStation 2 at the time, so there was like ads all over TV about Dragon Ball Z Budokai coming out on the PlayStation 2, and my cousin, me and him used to play Dragon Ball Z, and we would always watch the show and talk about Dragon Ball Z. And that would be like our thing or whatever. Hey, did you see that new episode of Dragon Ball Z? Yeah, I did see that new episode. Did you see what Piccolo did? Yeah, I saw what Piccolo did. You saw what Gohan did? Yeah, did you see what Goku did? Like, that would just be our thing. And like, you know, as kids, like how boys like to play fight, we would like pretend we're doing the Kamehamehas at each other and stuff like that. Like, Dragon Ball was our thing. Like, that was my thing. Kind of like how some of those people like in the 90s, some of those people that are probably in their 30s and late 40s, probably early 50s now, their thing was like Transformer toys and Power Rangers and Captain Planet and Voltron, stuff like that, and He-Man. Nah, that wasn't my thing. My thing was Dragon Ball Z. That was my thing. Dragon Ball Z. I would collect the action figures. I had some of the games. Or no, I had all the games. Every Christmas, a new Dragon Ball Z game would come out, and I would get the game. Whether it be the Budokai games, the Tenkaichi games. I still got the Tenkaichi games, which I'll probably show a clip of in the video. But still got the Tenkaichi games. I still got my Budokai games, and I still got my PlayStation 2, which doesn't work right now, but I'll get it fixed eventually so I can start playing the Budokai games again. But yeah, Dragon Ball Z was my thing, literally. I remember back when I was a kid, and we would always go to like the grocery store And the grocery store, local grocery store near me, would have like Shonen Jump magazines that would have like Goku on them. My mom would always get me the Shonen Jump magazines that had Goku in them. And she knew I was a huge Dragon Ball Z fan too. And that's what was a good thing. Usually, if she knew that me and my brothers liked something a lot, she would go out of her way to be like, here, look, I found this Dragon Ball Z for you. Or look, here's the Dragon Ball Z poster. And she's a teacher, so I remember when she she had like a lost and found thing or whatever that was never picked up, and she was like, here you go, here's a Gohan action figure. So that was pretty cool. So like Dragon Ball Z was my thing, man. So like that's pretty much how I got into it. The rest is history. I brought all the mangas when I got old enough and couldn't start buying stuff. Brought all the mangas, watched the anime countless times. Hell, even a couple of weeks before this tragic news, I watched all of the Cell saga, and I'm up to where Majin Buu just got turned into a cookie and got eaten by the evil Majin Buu. That was hilarious. So, yeah, Dragon Ball Z is my thing. I'm gonna keep on saying that. Without Dragon Ball Z, without Akira Toriyama, I wouldn't even be on YouTube right now doing YouTube videos, because I did the YouTube videos for fun and out of boredom, really. And I would do Dragon Ball Super manga chapter reviews like 5 or 6 years ago when those mangas were out and running back then. The Tournament of Power, Battle of Gods, Resurrection of F. Any old school subscribers that know me, I used to do the manga and movie reviews. I reviewed the Resurrection of F movie. I went and saw that in theaters when that came out. I went and saw the Broly movie and reviewed that movie recently. I initially didn't like the movie because of, inconsistencies, but I grew to like it over time because of like the action. It's one of those movies where you can't think about the story, you gotta think about the action, even though the story does have problems though, don't get me wrong. But I digress though. Resurrection F, Battle of Gods. Dragon Ball Superhero, I'll probably do a video for Superhero. But I did like the manga version of Dragon Ball Superhero. I'll give it that though. I didn't like the movie at first, but I grew to like certain parts of it. Still don't like the movie 100%, but I like certain parts of it. Orange Piccolo in general. Piccolo is actually my first favorite character of Dragon Ball. A lot of fans, a lot of friends that are probably going to be watching this are probably like, I thought it was Goku. I thought it was Goku Black. No, my first favorite character was actually Piccolo. A lot of fans / friends that don't know me probably don't know that I used to also like vampires and like monster type characters. So characters that had fangs always enticed me. So Piccolo always kind of looked like a monster and had fangs or whatever, but he was actually cool. So that is actually what made him cool to me, because he used to be Goku's mortal enemy back when he was King Piccolo, and then got reincarnated to Piccolo Daimao, Piccolo Jr. And when he ended up doing that and kidnapping Gohan in the Cell Saga, and Gohan training him up so he could fight the battle for the Saiyans, the Saiyajins, he eventually started caring for him, like, hey, Gohan's cool, he cares about me, even though I, threw him out in the woods or whatever to train, or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. He sacrificed himself for Gohan when Nappa was about to kill him. So that's what's really cool about Piccolo's character, and the rest is history. It's like a nephew uncle type thing. People like to say father and son. It's not father and son. Go Piccolo is not Gohan's father. Even if you like to make those stupid jokes, Piccolo is not Gohan's father. Stop making those jokes. And I love Piccolo. And that being said, one of my favorite fights being Piccolo versus Android 17. Piccolo versus Android 17 was one of the last good fights Piccolo had before like the Dragon Ball Renaissance, where we had like Dragon Ball Super. Because Dragon Ball, he didn't do nothing in the Majin Buu saga. he pretty much sat around. He had to babysit Trunks and Goten, teach them how to fuse, and then he got absorbed by Majin Buu. He got absorbed by Super Buu, and then the rest is history. Battle of the Gods, he got washed by Beerus. He died in GT, which is non-canon. We'll talk about GT later. So yeah, that's the one thing I did enjoy about Dragon Ball Superhero. They kind of brought Piccolo back into the relevance, because Piccolo is one of the OGs. Like he was one of the few that wanted that smoke with Goku, as you will, because Goku, he still hated Goku at the beginning of the Saiyan saga. Because remember when he killed Raditz? He was satisfied with that because he was still evil. The only reason why he teamed up with Goku to fight Raditz was because Raditz pretty much wrecked his shit in the beginning part of that saga. He pretty much landed near Piccolo because he saw Piccolo's power level was kind of high, but then he realized how weak Piccolo was. But then as he powered up, he felt Goku's energy and then left, and then Piccolo was scared. Piccolo tried doing that blaster move, but it didn't do nothing to Raditz at all, so Piccolo got scared. Yeah, that's the only reason why Piccolo teamed up with Goku. And then he was like, oh yeah, that's right, this is the move I wanted to kill you with. This is Makan Kusapo, the special being canon. So yeah, Piccolo is one of my favorites. He still is one of my favorites. That fight between him and Android 17, amazing. Hell, even the fight when he fought First Form Cell I like too. First Form Cell, one of my favorite Cell in general, one of my favorite Dragon Ball villains. A lot of Dragon Ball fans are gonna say that their favorite villain is Frieza. Nah, my favorite villain is Cell for sure. Cell is definitely one of my favorite Dragon Ball villains. Fun fact, I actually wrote an essay about Cell in school, like write about your favorite villain, and I wrote about Cell, and I was one of the few people that got the highest score in the class. The teacher told me to stand up, and they all applauded me, saying that was a really well thought out essay because I just knew everything about Cell. Cell is just one of those guys. He's a creation from Dr. Zero, sent out to kill Goku. Even though when he became perfect, he didn't really care. He became laid back and set up the Cell games. So Cell pretty much, Cell is just that guy. Even though he has the Cell of everybody else, and I think that's what's one of the most interesting parts about him. That's why I could say I got a high score on that essay, because I was descriptive about the fact that Cell, aka Suru, that's his name in the Japanese, he has genetics based on other fighters in the Dragon Ball universe, such as a Namekian, Piccolo, Frieza, and his father, and then other life forms, Saiyans. And the fact that he can pretty much copy anybody's technique down to its genetic code, like when he did the Kamehameha in Ginger Town against Piccolo, they all thought Goku was there, and they were like, we don't send his chi there. That's because he was able to replicate Goku's genetic data in order to do the Kamehameha perfectly, if that makes sense. Even though he was imperfect at the time, he was able to do a perfect Kamehameha. Pun not intended. But yeah, man, just me explaining all that tells you just what you need to know about Dragon Ball and how much I love Dragon Ball. So now let's get into the second part. It's why I love Dragon Ball. The story. It's not a hard story to follow. It's a pretty easy, straightforward story to follow. The characters are great. I just talked about Cell being one of my favorite villains. He's very complex. He has a one-track mind to reach his goal. And he's one of the few villains who actually done something. Like, let's say, for example, Frieza always wanted the immortality, but he couldn't obtain that because he didn't know the password for the Dragon Balls on planet Namek. Frieza still to this day wants to use the Dragon Balls for other reasons, but he never could. Cell never needed the Dragon Balls. He had no desire for them. All he wanted to do was become perfect, which he did. He absorbed the androids and became perfect. So that's why I love Cell so much. He's supposed to be 7 feet tall in his perfect form. That's interesting, because I always thought he was taller in his imperfect form. But yeah, Sudu. You can't tell me that Sudu is not the best. Now Majin Buu, let me see. So now Majin Buu, he's mixed. Fat Buu, I grew to like him more later on. Like pretty much after he killed Babidi, stood up for himself. But he's meh. Super Buu was cool. I actually liked Evil Buu. Let me pull up a picture. Or you know what? I could probably find him. That's regular Majin Buu. That's Innocent Buu. At first, I hated this character, but I grew to like him eventually. Like pretty much after he killed Babidi, and then he kind of became friendly with Hercule, even though I don't like Hercule. Let me see, Evil Buu. I do have the Funko Pop of Evil Buu, by the way. Yeah, Evil Buu. I always found his appearance to be interesting and unsettling. Like, look at how skinny he is. And mind you, don't think that because he's skinny he's weak. Like, he destroyed Fat Buu. And then look at his face. He's intimidating. He's got the black sclera, the wide eyes, and then look at how he's looking at you. The frown, and then just being really skinny like that. Like, that's unsettling to look at. See, I wanted to get rid of that. Let me see. Okay, so that's a good image. Back up. Alright, fuck it. Yeah, but Evil Buu, he's something else though. Evil Buu, I feel like his screen time was very short. Probably due to Akira Toriyama's editors. Because I know some of his editors make a lot of decisions for him. It's like, oh, well, you do this, you do that. But Evil Buu, when he showed up, he destroyed Fat Buu, and then even before that, we saw him brutally murder 2 humans. That was just, granted they were evil humans, he still brutally murdered them. So if we would have gotten a little bit more and perhaps see him fight off against one of the Z Warriors, that would have been interesting. But we immediately had him turn the Fat Buu into a cookie, and then he turned into Super Buu, and the rest is history. Super Buu is alright, but I like the Gohan Buu the most, but he's just more, he's like a perfect Cell clone to me, because he's got Piccolo and Gohan's intelligence and arrogance. So let's go ahead and move on from the character. Oh yeah, the lore is also interesting too. So when you first get in the Dragon Ball, OG Dragon Ball, where it's about Kid Goku in the woods, and he meets Bulma, and she runs into him trying to take the Dragon Ball because she's looking for the Dragon Ball so she can make a wish. And he explains to her about the Dragon Balls as well, because he has the 4-star ball, which is Grandpa Gohan's Dragon Ball, which he gave to Goku as a kid. They learned about the Dragon Balls, you needing to collect 7 of them to get your wish granted. Then he goes on all these different adventures, meets different characters. You have a different cast of characters each time. Like, it's a really cool adventure to go on, kind of like a Pokemon kind of thing. Like Ash, he goes on his adventures, goes to a different town, meets a couple of friends that he goes on adventures with, and then he parts ways, meets new friends. But in this scenario, he meets like different people like Oolong, Yamcha, Puar, the Ox King, Chi-Chi, and they become lifelong friends eventually. It's a lifelong adventure. We grow up with Goku. He starts off as a kid, teen, and then by the end of the very ending of the tournament arc between him and Piccolo Jr., he's in his 20s and married with Chi-Chi. So it's something, once you get into it, like, you're into it. Kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender. People always talk about how good Avatar: The Last Airbender is, which I'm in agreement for. It's kind of like that. Like, once you watch it and kind of start getting into it, watch a few episodes, like, you're hooked, and it only keeps on getting better from there. So then, that's the reason why I love Dragon Ball. So then, the overall impact, what it has across the United States, I'd say its overall impact is very high. Like, if you look at the statistics for Dragon Ball, especially like what I read earlier about the Latin America community being huge fans of Dragon Ball, because they are a very huge community, and not just the Latin America community, but all other communities too. Europe, Asia, of course, but Dragon Ball impact. So its influence is undeniable and continues to shape the landscape of animation today. And this article was just a recent article from last year. I want to see. Let's just click on this real quick. So the impact can be seen in, like I said earlier, in shows like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, which have gained massive followings and become cultural phenomenons in their own rights. The influence of Dragon Ball Z on anime industries is undeniable and continues to shape the landscape today, yeah. And what's interesting, there's big, like, they've crossed over with each other before, too. They've crossed over, made references to each other. Here it is right here. Dawn Stadium, Goku. So Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, Dawn Stadium game right here. There's the roster, which I remember. I never had this because this was only in Japan. But it's basically like a Smash Brothers type game. It's basically Smash Brothers, but anime characters. You see? It's basically Smash Brothers with anime characters. There's Sasuke right there. There's Luffy. There's Goku doing the Genki Dama. Yeah, so its impact is definitely there. I don't know if y'all remember in one of the Naruto Ninja Storm games, there was a Naruto Goku outfit. Yeah, right here. I think it was from Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. I still have my card for this too. There it is right there. And when he does the Rasengan, he does it in the shape of a Kamehameha. So, yeah, and then Goku dressed up as Naruto. This was in Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, it was Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z. I don't know why that name, because that game was trash. That's why. Here it is. There we go. Yep, 2014 Battle of Z. That's the Naruto outfit, Sage mode. See, I'm a Naruto fan too. Of course I would know. It's the Sage mode based outfit for Goku. That looks pretty dope. You can't deny that. And here's the Naruto wearing Goku's outfit, doing the Kamehameha. Doing the Kamehameha Rasengan. So the respect is there. And then a friend of mine who I did a crossover with, we actually duked it out on Jump Force, which I'll probably put some clips of in this video as well too. But yeah, Dragon Ball definitely has a high impact and brought a lot of fans together, so you can't deny that. So then the next topic is going to be So at the end of Dragon Ball, so basically at around 2006 was the conclusion of the Majin Buu saga, at least in the English dub for America, because Dragon Ball finished a long time ago, and then it was only starting to get popular in the late 90s and early 2000s because it came over and was dubbed by Funimation. So then that's where we got like the ending of Dragon Ball Z. They started doing like movies here and there, English dubs of some of these movies here and there, but that was pretty much the ending point of Dragon Ball. I stopped seeing Dragon Ball in a lot of places. Like, obviously there would be video games coming out every couple of years, but I'm talking about like in the media, and I found myself wondering like, dang, like, is that it? Like, obviously this is a really great anime and I could just go back and watch the sagas all over again, but I feel like it was like, dang, like, that's it? Like, we're not gonna get any more adventures with Goku and his friends, we're not gonna see any more fights or nothing like that. And then eventually we got like a special in 2013 or something like that. 2013, the Yo Son Goku and his friends return special, which I didn't end up seeing until after, like a year after, because it kind of ran underneath my radar. So I saw that, I was like, alright, this was okay, but I hope they do some more things with it. It was more like a slice of life kind of thing. It wasn't like the heavy action Dragon Ball Z that we were used to, like after the Cell and Buu saga. So then we got an announcement. Let me see. We got an announcement for the Battle of Gods that Akira Toriyama was working on. So he was working on that Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods back in 2013, and that was released in Japan. Now, that was like one of the most hyped things because we didn't really get a lot of Dragon Ball, at least here in North America. We got like Dragon Ball Z Kai. They did Dragon Ball Z Kai on Nickelodeon. So people that live in North America might remember what I'm talking about, that being on Nickelodeon. And it was kind of dead for a few years. Then we got Battle of Gods, and then they announced that they were going to do a sequel a couple of years later. 2015, we got the sequel, which they then announced that they were going to do a new series that Akira Toriyama was going to have his hands in directly, and was working alongside Toyotaro, who is also a Japanese manga illustrator. So that was pretty interesting, and we were all hyped for it. Whether you like these projects or not, because I know people are mixed with Battle of Gods and Resurrection of F. But these were definitely hype projects because we were like, yes, he's actually going to be working on it. Instead of like Dragon Ball GT, which a lot of us had criticism for. Some people are starting to try to switch up and say that GT is good, even though I still think GT is trash. But that's just me though. Akira Toriyama actually does have his hands on it, and he's the one writing the story, so that's what made it a little bit more special to me, at least. Because Dragon Ball GT, let's get into Dragon Ball GT because it's going to be a part of this little topic as well too. So Dragon Ball GT, to me, Dragon Ball GT only had a few good moments. Them turning Goku into a kid was the dumbest thing as they ever did. That's what pretty much was a stain on the series. As much as I like Pan, Goku's granddaughter, she was annoying in Dragon Ball GT for most of it. She kind of like was behaving like a brat to kind of get her way certain times. It basically annoyed Goku and Trunks. Trunks was a wimp and he was very weak. No Goten. Vegeta. So with that being said, we got our little Dragon Ball renaissance, starting with Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods, and then we started getting other things like Resurrection of F, then Dragon Ball Super, then the Goku Black arc, which of course, look at my wallpaper right here, Rose Goku Black. Like, there's parts of his story that I would have changed. Like, for example, I don't like the fact that he's Zamasu. I wish he was an actual evil Goku, like Goku from another timeline that never hit his head. kind of like Turles from Tree of Might. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, he still kind of is Goku, but he's still not. And that's what I kind of like about his character. He behaves like Goku, but he's still not Goku. So something is off about Goku. If you remember that manga chapter with Captain Ginyu swapping bodies with Goku, like Goku's not Goku. And then when they look at Goku, you see obviously the people reading the chapter and watching the anime. Obviously there's something wrong with Goku. That's not Goku. Krillin and Gohan don't really see it, but we see it. He's got on the green scouter, the menacing look in his eyes. Let me see. Let me pull up Ginyu in Goku's body. That's a funny picture right there, but I'm not gonna pull up that one. Like this right here. So obviously this is not Goku. It's Goku, but it's not Goku. He's got the menacing look on his eyes. He's got the scouter. Goku never does a face like this. He does a genuine smile, eyebrows up. He doesn't do, unless he's being cocky like during a fight. But usually Goku's face doesn't look like this. Like, look at the sinister look in his face. Like right here too. So that's kind of what I liked about Goku Black as well. He has like a good contrast to regular Goku. Not just his outfit and the name, but his contrast to regular Goku, the menacing look in his eyes as well, the dark circles underneath his eyes, the menacing smile. So that's really why I like Goku Black. And you can't deny this Rose transformation looks cool. It's basically Super Saiyan Blue, but it's pink. And there was a lot of fools that kept on saying Super Saiyan Rose was his version of regular Super Saiyan 1. No, it's his version of Super Saiyan Blue. It looks just like Super Saiyan, it's my wallpaper, so let's just go back. It's basically his version of Super Saiyan Blue, except it's pink. He's a real god transforming into Super Saiyan Blue, but instead of getting blue, he's getting pink. Rose. So I thought that was cool. I just think the transformation looks cool too. Like, it contrasts with Goku Black's colors because Akira Toriyama was actually going for Black Rose. So you have this black right here, and then the Rose transformation, and then the purple aura. Like, it just looks cool, really cool. One of my favorite transformations in Dragon Ball Super. So then that was part of the renaissance of Dragon Ball, like Dragon Ball being new and all that stuff. I did make a video previously talking about how I wasn't too happy with Dragon Ball Daima, but with some of the statements, which I'm not going to read in this stream, I'll probably just put them in my community tab of what Akira Toriyama's last statements are. I will go ahead and watch it for him and do some reviews, and I will review it fairly, because as much as I love Akira Toriyama and Dragon Ball, appreciate Dragon Ball and Akira Toriyama, I'm still going to criticize it though, just like I did earlier. You know, I still didn't like Superhero, but I still like Piccolo in the movie though. So there's that. And then I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to my last part of this tribute, where I talk about some of the manga that that I've been reading in tribute to Akira Toriyama and the comparisons and contrasts it has to the anime. And if you like videos like this, go ahead and give it a like, comment, subscribe. And I just want to give a huge thank you to Akira Toriyama for Dragon Ball and what you contributed to the anime and manga community. Thank you so much. What's up, y'all? SSJ. So this is actually going to be the bonus part of my Akira Toriyama tribute video, where I kind of talk about the manga. I have here the color manga of the Frieza arc, which I shared on my story recently, and then I have just one of the regular non-color art manga, but of course some of the pages do actually have color in them, like for example this page right here. And I just wanted to take a minute to appreciate the manga and of course the artwork. Look at the little blood right here on Goku's forehead right there, and just appreciate the fact that Akira Toriyama drew all of this pretty much back to back for the last pretty much the last couple of decades. What I'm talking about in its original run from the 80s all the way to 1997, I believe. So obviously with the manga there's going to be differences like most books, but like, you know, like how certain words are phrased. Of course he's calling him Kakarot just like in the anime. That doesn't change about Vegeta. The vibrations, they stopped. Clouds, they blew away. So this is their epic fight right here. Classic fight from when they first fought in the Saiyan Saga. Goku goes Kaioken. I believe this is Kaioken times 2. Yup, right there. Kaioken times 2. Yeah. We're never gonna get something like this again. I'll tell you that much. And then it's back to the black and white. So obviously you have your Harry Potters and you have your what's that series called? The Hunger Games series or whatever other series. But like when it comes down to like anime and Dragon Ball, I definitely think the anime adapted it as closely as the manga as they could. Obviously they changed a couple of words. So let's go over to the Frieza arc real quick. Like for example, the beginning part of this, let me see. So this is after Vegeta healed during the fight with Goku. There's kind of a reason why I had this one out first and then I switched over to the other one. Use that right there. So we're now in the Frieza, the Planet Namek saga. So he's naming a person named Kiwi. And in case you don't know who Kiwi is, it's actually this guy right here. In the English dub, his name is Kui. Spelled C-U-I, but it's spelled Kiwi in the manga. So get out of my face, Kiwi. I don't have time. I don't have the time to waste listening to your bladder. Now listen, Lord Frieza is angry that you guys did all that without his permission. He can't complain if he's not here. Now get your dirty hand off me. But Lord Frieza is a generous person. No, he's not. I hear he's gonna forgive you since you discovered something wonderful. Of course, we know that that's the Dragon Balls. See, he was very pleased that he might obtain eternal youth and life. What? Then Lord Frieza has taken off too. That's right, Planet Namek. And of course, this is when it's in color, of course. So we didn't know Planet Namek would have been green until years later. But they did color it in this version. I just love how this art style looks. We won't have an art style like we will, but it's not going to be for him. Akira Toriyama, man. So then, this is Bulma basically being annoying. So just like in the anime, she was annoying. Oh yeah, didn't you fellows just stroll on about? Did you bring lawn chairs? Because she brought like space breathers in case Planet Namek didn't have a suitable enough atmosphere like planet Earth. But Krillin and Gohan just got off the spaceship like it was nothing. So they do find out that there's Dragon Balls here. So just like in the anime, and then you see a spaceship pass by that has powerful enough chi. And in case you're wondering, what is chi? Like how they say ki, sensing ki or sensing energy. Chi is the same thing, but in the manga they say chi in some of the mangas. So that's the Saiyan spaceship, which it was most likely the Frieza's men. So yeah. And then that stinking Frieza, he takes off the scouter. He talks about how he doesn't have to use the scouter anymore because he learned how to sense ki back on planet Earth. And then he starts flying towards another direction because he feels like he's confident enough to take out Zarbon and Dodoria separately, of course. And then back over to Bulma and them, we see that she was going to try to call the Master Roshi, and Bulma was actually going to leave Gohan and Krillin on planet Namek, but instead her spaceship got destroyed by one of Frieza's men. And then here's Frieza, just like in the anime. This is them first getting there, so we just saw that one in the color one that I just had. So yeah, of course, the Lord of Worlds said that the Namekians are gentle and peaceful because they were scared. They thought that these were Namekians, but these obviously aren't Namekians because they sensed that their chi had like an evil aura to them. Fans like the dog on Dragon Ball Super, but I do have the Dragon Ball Super manga as well. I had to get this one. Now, I had issues with the Goku Black art. Here we go. That's Vegito Blue. I'm gonna just leave it on this page real quick. I did have issues with this arc in the anime, but the manga I think is slightly better. So, in the manga, he calls himself Vegeta-Ra. It's not Vegito, guys. Vegito is just in the anime. In the manga, it's Vegeta-Ra because what's Goku's name? Kakarot, and then Vegeta. So if you take Vegeta and Kakarot, you get Vegeta-Ra, not Vegito. A warrior created by Potara Fusion, just like you. Fusion of mortals. You don't know mortals confused too. No wonder you were laughing like an idiot. Woo! So he was savage right to his face here too. Looks like the Potara Fusion. Looks like your Potara Fusion will only last for 1 hour. And then he says, Nani, what? And then, how could I not know? So it's funny how Zamasu's a little bit more stupider in the manga here. And you see him power up, ha! And then he becomes Vegito Blue. Alright, this is what I call Vegeta-Ra Blue. I will erase you without leaving a trace. I will give you no time to regenerate. Yeah, Vegeta was definitely more, Vegeta-Ra in the manga. Vegito Blue was definitely more intimidating in the manga than he was in the anime. Because in the anime, they were like, it was a struggle between both sides. But the fight is completely one-sided here, like 1000% one-sided. There's Vegito Blue, kicks Zamasu into this building here, he crashes. And then he comes out of the building right here. He's bleeding, Zamasu's bleeding, no way, impossible. We didn't see that in the anime, Zamasu bleeding. Here he's bleeding. Manga is in the anime. Even if the arc, I still didn't agree with how the arc ended, because the arc still ended the same, regardless if you watched the anime or read the manga. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for my appreciation as far as the manga goes for my tribute to Akira Toriyama. So peace.
She don't wanna be saved, don't save her. 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 She don't wanna be saved.